Well, for the past 3 years, Laura and I have been doing a series of events, music and mythology. And tonight we've decided to do Mythology of Transformation. So we're going to begin with a story, and actually a little song before that, but the story was collected in 1879 from a Modoc elder. It's a Shasta Vision Quest Coyote story. So we're going to start with a coyote chant from the Karak people. There were 5 tribes around the Mount Shasta area. One is the Karak, and this is many centuries old coyote chant from the Karak. We'll sing it 4 times. You're welcome to join us when you get the knack of it. Yeah, we're traveling. So Coyote was down by the river one day, and he saw a group of young girls bathing in the river. And Coyote, being Coyote, he walked down to the river and he made a pass at the young girls. And the young girls mocked Coyote. They said, "Oh, Coyote, we're not interested. You're way too old for us." Coyote didn't like that. So Coyote Wuss went to his friend Jow Jow, Flying Squirrel, and he said, "Jow Jow, I've decided to go on a vision quest to Mount Shasta so that I can become young again." And Jow Jow said, "Coyote, what are your intentions for this vision quest?" And Coyote said, "Well, I've never done a vision quest, and it's something everybody should do in their life. So I want to go to Mount Shasta to renew my spirituality and to renew my youth and to ask the Great Spirit, Gomokamsh, for a blessing." And Jow Jow said to Wuss, he said, "You know, Coyote, I get the impression that maybe your intentions are not totally honorable and transparent. But since I'm your good friend and you've come to me, I'll honor your request. I'll teach you a song to sing on the way to Mount Shasta. And when you walk on the trail, if you encounter any other people or any other creatures, you have to get off the trail so that you're not dissuaded from your one-pointed intention. Don't talk to anybody about what you're doing. So he taught Coyote a song, and then he said, Coyote, when you get to the tree line on Mount Shasta, with your blankets, you have to wrap up firewood, take them to the lake between the two peaks, build your sweat lodge, heat up the rocks, put steam on the rocks, pray all night, sing the song, pray for a dream from Gamokamsh, the great spirit. So Coyote learned the song and he took off, and very shortly he encountered some people on the trail. And they said, Coyote, what are you doing? And Coyote said, I'm going to Mount Shasta on a vision quest so that I can become young again. And they said, well, good luck. So Coyote walked a little further. He encountered some more people. He said, Coyote, what are you doing? He said, I'm going on a vision quest to Mount Shasta so I can become young again. And they wished him well. But as Coyote got closer to the mountain, he started avoiding people and avoiding creatures. And he started really getting into singing the song. He got up to timberline, gathered his firewood, took the blankets, built a sweat lodge, heated up the rocks, put water on the rocks to make steam, prayed to Gamokamsh, the great spirit, fell asleep, and just before dawn, he had a dream that Gamokamsh came in his lodge. And Gamokamsh said, Coyote, I know your intentions have not been pure, but you've prayed to me in the proper way. You've requested that you become young again. I'll grant that wish. And furthermore, I'll also grant you the wish there will always be coyotes in this world. So that's the story of Coyote and Gamokamsh in his vision quest on Mount Shasta. Laura has a story from the Celtic tradition of a transformational experience.
I guess we could call Coyote kind of an accidental tourist of transformation. The next character that I'm going to introduce is one that we're all familiar with. You know, Disney makes movies about this. It's the mermaid. She appears in a beautiful song from the Scottish Gaelic tradition. And in this song, we promised to talk about music and mythology tonight. So we're going to talk a little bit about the structure of the song and the words of the song. And then we'll let you, that will engage your mind. And then we'll let you hear it and really just engage it with your senses as well. So in this song, it's a classic 3-verse song. So it tells a little miniature story in 3 verses. Then there's a chorus that repeats every time. In the first verse, the mermaid implies that she has loved human beings. So she's been separated from the human beings, her loved ones, and she says, I have loved deeply, although I am only a mermaid. So for some of us, we think, yeah, you're only a mermaid. Thank goodness I'm not a mermaid. But the mermaid, the rest of us say, woo, that's a little too close for comfort. You know, I've loved deeply too, and you know, I don't know if I'm always the perfect person in any situation to give or receive love. Gosh, you know, do I deserve it? So there's the mermaid as a character of transformation immediately by her dual presence, kind of puts us on that line. Where do we fall? You know, are we the secure ones who think, yeah, it's only a mermaid? Or could we be the mermaid? In the second verse of the song, the mermaid finds herself at sea. She describes how she never knows where she'll rest her head on any given night. She describes facing terrible weather and storms at sea. And she says, I don't know whether I'll be on this island or that one on any given night. So the mermaid has found herself kind of living a life that's very similar to any homeless person that lives in one of our cities today. I mean, who'd have thought such a revered mythological character would find herself in that kind of position? But mythological characters frequently do find themselves in difficult places. Finally, at the end of the song, the last verse, the mermaid, compelled by who knows what, either her personal choice, some power greater than herself, she decides to dive deeply under the water. When she dives, she finds gold and silver. She says, "These are greater riches than I've seen in the palace of any king." So this mermaid has seen a few things. She's traveled and she's taken this dive. She knows not why, but she finds herself back in her element and gaining unimaginable riches. So with that little story in mind, I don't know if anyone has ever kind of heard of this 3-part transformation process or 3-part process of change. But it can be understood, change can be understood, and you may divide it up a little differently, but there's always kind of a dissolving, a dissolution, a disaster, a personal experience of, wanting, not getting, something like that. That could be seen as stage number 1. And the mermaid certainly goes through that in the first verse of her song, where she is separated from those she loves. The second stage might be thought affectionately of as chaos soup. It's where you don't know what to make of the situation or where to turn next, maybe. There's a little bit of, there's a lot of questioning, a little bit of kind of creative energy there, but you're not sure how to access it yet. So the mermaid finds herself swimming around in those storms from island to island, and obviously in that verse, verse 2, when she's experiencing the homelessness, she is in the water, she is literally at sea. Then she reaches kind of the third stage, where something starts to emerge out of that primordial soup, and our new life or our new process or the next step takes shape. And for the mermaid, she goes straight from those stormy seas to diving deeply under the sea. She's in the same element she was before, the water element. But this time she discovers something with confidence. She finds something that she just didn't expect to be there for her. So this song, I haven't told you yet about the chorus. And the chorus is where it gets really interesting. It's repetitive. And as we know from chanting and the effect that can have on our minds, our bodies, our spirits, as we do it over and over, having a repetitive chorus can either be seen as a yawner, boring, whatever, or it can drive home a point in a very special way. Now this chorus, like many traditional songs from Gaelic, the Scottish tradition especially, has a series of vocables, meaningless syllables. And so we think like, okay, yeah, what about that? Meaningless syllables, what could that possibly do? It's not even like a Sanskrit chant where you don't understand the words. It's just syllables that don't mean anything. Well, these syllables interact with the music in a really fascinating way. Listen to their rhythm. Huva is nahorian huva. Huva is nahorian he. Huva is nahorian huva. So you get, that's the first 3 lines of the chorus, and it takes on this kind of ocean wave-like form. You can probably see where I'm going with this. Then she delivers the kicker. Saun le foil avialumi. You have deceived me. Oh my gosh. In our transformational process, what the heck is that all about? She's making this wonderful dive, getting a new life, and diving deeply into her element and finding riches, and you've deceived me? Well, I see this as a really interesting place for her to be. She is probably, just for the sake of the song, referring to the humans that deceived her. However, she is also, in making this statement, you have deceived me, she's drawing a boundary between herself and the past. I mean, the logic might seem a little convoluted, but she's saying, this is where the buck stops. I'm diving in. So I think that it can be instructive for those of us who go through any kind of change and find ourselves not maybe in the most perfect frame of mind around it, to realize that sometimes when we're having a bad attitude, it might be that we're just showing ourselves where we draw the line. And we're giving ourselves a starting line from which to move on. So that's just one way to view it. You may have a different way when you hear the song. But the mermaid, when we really kind of go into her character, half human, half fish, and we think about how she, in her embodiment, deals with a paradox, and we realize that those paradoxes of heart and mind, or spirituality and skepticism, or global and local, how do we resolve these things in the bigger picture? How do we get down, kind of the boots on the ground method of how to do it? We find we might have to draw the line occasionally. We might have to experience things that are less than our ideal, but there's always that deeper, fundamental place that we can dive to and call upon some magic in our lives. And it's really the magic of us. It's the magic of that spiritual network that we share with other people in community and in kind of the global community. It's that kind of invisible thread that reaches out to other humans who have gone through the same experience. It's something that we might even find in our connection with the natural world. So the mermaid, if we just use her as, she's only one example of these wonderful characters that we find in the story. So just as Coyote, the kind of accidental tourist of transformation, he achieved transformation anyway. The mermaid finds her transformation through surrender. So she resolves the paradox by not necessarily resolving it, but just surrendering to it, going in deeper. And it's a perfectly valid path. And it's a fascinating path. And you can see it in movies, books, podcasts, real life dramas. We'd like to do the mermaid song for you now and just let you kind of experience this, the mermaid's life of the ocean waves and where it takes her, where it might take you.
So Coyote and Mermaid are shapeshifters. And when we transform, so are we. We shift between the profane and the sacred, between the mundane and the transcendent. But unlike Coyote, we probably don't really want to bungle through our transformation. And the mermaid, of course, goes through this crisis at a time not of her own choosing. So how can we prepare ourselves for transformation so that it's a more conscious process? Well, there's lists from all sorts of different religious traditions: Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Native American traditions. We can make our own list, check it twice. One of the lists that I like is from Buddhism. It talks about the 6 paramitas, or perfections. We start with Shila, and that's activities in our life. There's 2 aspects of that. One is that we don't harm others, and the other is that we engage in non-addictive behaviors and habits. So, whatever addictions we have, we want to take a look at them squarely, whether it's really destructive ones or whether it's just we can't get through life without watching TV. Or for me, it could be NPR. I have to. So we just don't want to be a slave to those addictions. We want to face them squarely. The second part, paramita, is virya. That's spiritual energy, heroic strength, and determination. We have to be committed to our path. I suspect that you wouldn't be here if you didn't know that you had a path. You'd be somewhere else tonight. There's other things to do besides come to the Onion for the full moon gathering. So you all have that path, and you all, deep down inside, have that place where you muster that spiritual determination. So it's just cultivating that. One way to give that an extra boost is through the 3rd perfection in Buddhism, dana, or giving. Of course, there's the selfless giving they talk about in the Bhagavad Gita, where you are completely detached from the results of that. Sometimes that's too big a step for us. Sometimes we just need to up-level our giving a little bit. Like maybe we give and we want a fair exchange, or maybe we give and we just kind of manipulate somebody through our giving. So if we can just up-level just a little bit, maybe that selfless giving is too much to strive for, but maybe we can look at what we're doing with our giving and just up-level at one level. Then the 4th practice is the practice of kshanti, of patience. It's a practice that's, as we grow older, sometimes it gets easier because we realize that all things eventually do come around. Maybe they take time, but everything will come to us at some time. The practice of meditation, the 5th practice. I was playing at this church in Mesa, Arizona. There was a minister, he was 80 years old. People asked him to give a foundations class. He had about 400 people. He said, if you don't meditate, go to a different church. It's kind of a heroic thing to say for a minister, because the church survives on donations, so you don't really want to turn people away. But he said, if you don't practice meditation, you're not going to be clear enough to understand the teachings. So I know at the Onion they have a meditation, and we're going to do an extended meditational practice. I have no idea how long it's going to take, so we'll start it in just a few minutes. If we have enough time at the end, we'll do another story of transformation, but we want to at least get through the meditational transformation and then the 10 minutes of silence to integrate that in our lives. Finally, there's the practice of wisdom, of seeing that non-duality, of realizing that we live in a web of universal love, that at the heart of things, there's no separation, that the dance we do in this life is just that expression of that deeper interconnectedness. So we're going to do a practice, a meditational practice. It comes from the Himalayas. It's a practice the lamas do. It's a practice of universal compassion. We're going to meditate, dissolve the world into emptiness, and then recreate it as a mandala of universal compassion. Take a deep breath in. Breathe into that center of your being. From the space in the center, we're going to begin with a chant for universal compassion. Om Tare Tare, Tu Tare, Tu Re Soha. tu re so, om tare tare, tu tare 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 tu re so, om. I take refuge in all spiritual teachers throughout the world. I take refuge in all valid teachings in every tradition. I take refuge in the community of light workers in every society. May all beings throughout the universe be free from suffering. May all sentient creatures be happy. May I rejoice in the good fortune of others. May all beings throughout the universe be free from anger, from attachments, and from delusion. I vow to strive for that great enlightenment for as long as suffering remains in the world. So as we breathe deeper into that point in the center of our being, that indwelling presence, place beyond duality, where the walls start to dissolve. And as we dissolve the outer world to a point of light, to a state of emptiness, beyond all conceptual thought. From this state of emptiness, visualize a red lotus with blossoms open. On top of this red lotus, a moon seat appears, a white crescent moon pointing upward. Seated on top of this moon crescent is the green syllable tom, which represents the essence of your own mind. This green syllable tom is also the bija, the seed syllable for Tara. From this green tom, rays of light are manifested, which make offerings to all spiritual beings throughout the universe for the benefit of all sentient creatures. This light then reabsorbs into yourself as you become Tara. The color of your body is green. Your right hand, which rests upon your right knee, is in the giving mudra. In it you hold the vessel of life. Your left hand is upon your heart, with the ring finger and the thumb pressed together, holding the stem of the blue upala flower. You are peaceful and smiling, adorned by all precious ornaments and garments. Your right foot slightly extended, your left leg tucked in. Your back rests upon a wall of moon. On your forehead is the letter Om. At your heart, the letter Ah. Your throat, the letter Hum. From your heart, light rays extend and invoke all the enlightened ones in the 10 directions in the form of green taras with the recitation Om Benza Samaya Zahum Bamho. All these deities then absorb into yourself. And from the seed syllable at your heart, light rays are extended and invoke the 5 initiating cosmic Buddhas as you recite Om Benza Samaya and make the request. Please, enlightened ones, bestow on me all empowerments. And the enlightened ones say, Om Sarva Tathagata Abhisheka Samaya Shiri Hum. And having thus said, they pour water from a vessel onto the top of your head. This water goes through your body, purifying all bodily defilements. It fills up your body to the top of your head. And in your heart, on that moon seat, there's that green syllable tom, surrounded by the syllables Om, Tare, Tare, Tutare, Ture, Soha. From these syllables, rays of light are extended and make offerings to all the enlightened ones and all those striving for enlightenment, which become useful to the benefit of all sentient creatures. All the powers, all the blessings, all the compassion of all the enlightened ones and all those striving for enlightenment manifest in the forms of rays of light, which absorb into this rosary of syllables as you recite the mantra Om Tare Tare Tutare Ture Soha. Om Tare Tare Tutare Ture Soha. I confess all my negative actions, accumulated since beginningless time. I rejoice in the virtue of all holy and all ordinary beings. I shall remain committed to the project of this great enlightenment until all cyclic existence ends. And I shall turn the wheel of all spiritual teachings for the benefit of all sentient creatures. I dedicate all virtues of myself and all others to this great enlightenment. And now as we take this empowerment into the silence, we radiate out compassion throughout the universe as we recreate this mundane world into a mandala of universal compassion. tare, tutare ture so, om tare 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 tare, tutare ture so. So thank you for letting us take you on a journey through 3 different traditions: Native American, Celtic, conscious Buddhist, recreating the universe through a mandala. It's been a privilege to be able to share with you tonight. If you ever come up our way to Mount Shasta, from May through October, we lead transformational healing music events on our land, on the mountain. If you come up alone, we do it every Tuesday night. If you come up with a group, phone us up. We'd be glad to do a special event for your group.
Let's give some love to Anton and Laura. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful, really. Really so magical and mystical to go into that silence, having you play us in and chant us in. Thank you so much.